Hi there, my name is Cree and I am here today to show you the most effective way to organize your files and your folders. Now, this is a huge problem for many people. As you can see, my desktop right now has an explosion of documents on it, and it gets really overwhelming to work on your computer when it looks like this. You don't want this clutter. You don't even know what half of these files are, and they're all labeled such weird things like this BBOE2AA, and this is just impossible to find. You're not going to find this easily once it gets stored away, and chances are you'll lose your files this way, and you're not going to be able to keep things in track, and nobody wants this. Right? How many times have you spent searching through your computer for files to perhaps never even find them and have to recreate them or go search for them again online, and it just creates a disaster. So what I want to do today is teach you 2 steps that I use that are super effective to organize your files and your folders in a way where you'll always be able to find your files no matter what you need. When you need them, you'll be able to quickly search right up here, Spotlight search, for a name that you are going to already know, most likely what you named your file, and it's just going to be so easy to find to keep things really organized. So let's get into this. There's 2 steps. So the first thing I'm going to do actually is, this is a little ironic, I'm going to wipe all these files from my desktop right now because I want to get rid of them to make things more clear for you to see. So I have a folder called Cleanup. This is typically what I end up doing when I have a bunch of files that I've pulled online onto my desktop. I'm just going to place them in there so that we have a clean slate to work with. So from there, you would go in and you would clean up all your cleanup files. So you're gonna rename them all, where they need to go, which I'll show you later on in this training. And you are going to be able to organize all these files in places where you're gonna easily be able to find them. But you can get tackled on that. You can tackle that as soon as I teach you these 2 steps. So here's what you need to do. The first thing you need to do is find or develop a root folder. This is where you're going to keep everything. So the way I do it on my computer is that I have an external hard drive that I plug in. I like to work with my files off of my hard drive because I don't like to eat up a lot of memory on my computer, and it slows my computer's RAM down. So I typically work on files that are really large in size, like photos and videos and big like Creative Suite programs. So my files are typically really massive, and if I was to keep them all on my computer would get drained really easily and stop working for me in half the time. So I put them all on my hard drive. I'd highly recommend doing this for anyone who also has big files or lots of files. It's just a really great way to keep your files protected and organized somewhere that isn't taking space off of your computer. However, if you aren't like me and you have files but they're not massive and you don't have too many of them, you can always just set up the system anywhere. You can set it up right on your desktop, or you can go into your Finder and create a folder in your favorites, and you just want a root folder where everything is going to go. That means all these desktop folders are going to go in it. Everything is going to get categorized in this one root folder, and for me, it is my Lacy Biggest. This is the hard drive that I have. This is what it's called. It's called Lacy Biggest. This is where all my files lie. This is where all my folders lie. So everything that belongs to me and my businesses belongs in this one folder. Now, the way I categorize this is by my businesses, and this one is personal. So I have 3 business folders here. It's Creative, Creative Co, and Snapping in Style. And then I have my personal file, which is Kristen's Files. So that's everything that involves like my personal life, meaning all my outside work, all my personal photos, my personal website, my wedding planning stuff. So that's where all this stuff lies. I basically categorize my life, guys. This is what I'm asking you to do. You need to kind of categorize the different aspects of your life. How are you saving files? Where are the files that you have that collect on your desktop? What are those in reference to? Are they in reference to your business? Are they in reference to your personal life? You just want to categorize them, okay? So in your main folder, you're going to categorize them, your subfolders, the way that you would categorize your life. And mine is my 3 businesses and my personal. So from here, I'm going to show you how this works. Now, the first step is making sure that your folders are labeled properly, okay? So I have It's Creative, my Creative Co., my Snapping in Style, and Kristen's files. It's clear what all of these are. You know, what I mean by labeling them clearly is that you don't want to label them something like 01 January, like here in your main folder, because this is going to get confusing. You're not going to know where this January folder goes or what goes in it. I mean, unless this is how you want to organize your files. Maybe you want to organize them all by date. So instead of having them all categorized by my businesses like this, maybe you want to do them by date. So you're going to have maybe your folders would look like this, where it's like 2017. So that's the root folder, and then within them goes January 2017. And then so on and so forth. So this would be February. All right, and so you would continue on this way, and so then you would ignore these you would just have the 2017, and then maybe your next folder would be 2018, and you'd continue the process, okay? So if this is how you want to label your system, this is what's going to help you to remember, that's fine. Otherwise, do it by your businesses and your personal, or just categorize your life in like the 4 or 5 biggest categories that you can, okay? So once I did this, I then subcategorized. So you're going to see, like, my business, Creative Co., it's even further subcategorized. So you'll see all my business documents, and then you'll see all my projects that I work on. So I keep all the projects in here labeled by date, kind of as like I was showing you before. And then all my business documents are labeled by, so these are my official documents for my business. This is all brand direction. So this is all inspiration, stuff that I find online. Like, for example, if I wanted inspiration for branding, I've further labeled, this is the inspiration folder, so this is the branding folder within my inspiration, and if I wanted to look up anything that had to do with branding based off of all the files that I've collected over the years, they would be in here, so you would just keep going until it stops. So like if I wanted copywriting help, here's all my copywriting swipe that I've pulled, an inspiration, like Creative Co inspiration, mock-ups. I've got pricing modules. This is a little crazy. I literally have hundreds of swipe files just purely for inspiration. So it gets really tricky to categorize stuff like this. Like, you'll notice I didn't even go in and like these should all be labeled. These are all labeled incorrectly simply because they're just screenshots, and I never went through and renamed them. But however, it does still make my life easier because they are all in this pricing folder, which means that if I ever needed any type of pricing inspiration, I would just go to this folder, and at least they'd be sitting here waiting for me, and I'd know where they are, categorized by theme. However, if I wanted to search for these individually, I would just need to switch the way that the file is labeled, and I'm going to show you exactly how to do that now in order to keep things consistent and to find them really easily. So like something like this, screenshot 2015 11.16, like this is going to be impossible to find. If I ever wanted to go and find this exact image at some point, I'm never going to remember this title. I'm never going to remember all these numbers, and it's just going to be gone. So if I didn't put it in this pricing folder, like I don't know where it would be, and then it would just be a waste of my efforts to begin with. So you definitely have to stay organized. So just getting your folder labeling down is halfway there and is already going to start to build your momentum and keep things mostly categorized for you and easy to find. However, you need to go a step further if you want it to be even easier. So I'm going to show you how to label files in order to find them easily. So if you'll see, like let's say my official documents, I've got all my stuff that has to deal with my business, and then let's say we go into website portfolio. So here's all my portfolio stuff that's on my website, and you'll notice here, like in my services section of my website, I have these icons. So here's a perfect example of how to label your files. Let me pull up. Okay, so this is the way you need to think about labeling your files here. You're going to want to start with your base folder name. So for example, this belongs to Creative Co, as you can see here. So you go from Creative Co to Business Documents, Official Documents, you're in Website Portfolio, Services, and then Creative Co. So we want to start with our base folder, which is Creative Co. This is the business that this file belongs to. So Creative Co underscore. So you don't want to add weird symbols to your file naming stuff. It ends up confusing the system, and honestly it can corrupt your files if you have like really weird file system names, like if you put a plus there, or if you're using like weird you know, like weird symbols, or well, that's about them. You don't want to use periods. Definitely don't use periods, because that confuses things from the end, like root of your file. Like that always has to stay a period, and then whatever type of file it is. So you don't want to confuse anything by ever putting a period in your titles. This example right here is a horrible example of how to label your file. The plus can throw things out of whack. These symbols can throw things out of whack. The space without an underscore here could throw things under whack. So you definitely want to just keep underscores or dashes. That's going to be like the easiest, and that's what your computer picks up on and easily recognizes. So your files aren't going to corrupt that way. So let me just delete this. So again, you can see you got the base file, Creative Co here in the title, underscore. Now web, this is the category it belongs to. Let's see, here we go. So category it belongs to is web. Then you're going to see the topic is services, so that's a services page. The version is going to be creative consulting. So for example, if I wanted to create an icon, so these are for my creative consulting icons. If I wanted to create an icon that belonged to my web design services, I would write web design right here. So that's the topic. I could also do another one, and then it would be like I could label this my content creation labels. So there you have it. So now you know exactly where each of the files belongs. You know that this file belongs to Creative Consulting page. And then the numbers at the end represent, why do I keep opening the wrong page? Right here. So the numbers at the end represent like the version or the round you're on. So the version, this is version 01 and round A. So you'll notice like round A is this icon, round B is this icon, round C is this icon, and round D is this icon. However, they're all a part of version 1. Okay, so version 1 could mean maybe a yellow background. That could mean version 1. Now, let's say I wanted to create all these same icons except change the background to green. Maybe then I would say everything included in this, let's just delete these that we don't need. So if I wanted to change the background green, nothing about the design would change, just that little green detail. So this would remain Creative Co Web Services Creative Consulting. However, this version would change. So the version would become 02. Now that's going to be maybe my green version. And then I'm going to have the letter A to signify that icon. So that's the round. So the round is A. Okay? So it's similar to, so you would see these are pretty much the same files. However, one of them would be yellow and one of them would be green. You'd be able to differentiate just by looking into your folder which ones are different, because this says round 1 and this says round 2. Or, I'm sorry, version 1 and version 2, okay? And then the round is simply signified by letters. So I mean, you could do this however you want. You could do O1-1 or O1-Y for yellow and G for green. Whatever it is that is going to help you to organize them, as long as you have your root, your base, like your root titles, you are going to be able to search for these easily, and that is going to change your life. So let me show you how that works. So let's say I wanted to find this icon really easily. So I would know that I would go up here and search. So I would search for, I know it's in Creative Co. I know it's a part of my Creative Co business, and I know it's going online, so it's in the web section. And then I know it's a part of my services, services icons. And I'm searching for the services that are going on, like the service icons that are going on my Creative Consulting page. So I would know to write Creative Consulting. All right, and then look, it shows up. So here they all are, and you can just scroll right through and find exactly the file that you need right away. And the reason you're able to search for this really easily is because you know what your files belong to. So if you ever needed to search for something, let's say like in Creative Co, and you know that it was a part of my website, then same thing, like you're gonna see it's creative, you're gonna see homepage. So if I just searched for it's creative, this would bring up all of my it's creative files, so I would know exactly where to find. I mean, you can do show all in Finder. All my creative files would be in here, so I would know exactly where to find them, and then you just further break it up. So if you know it belongs to web, or in this case it was my home page, I would do home page. Okay, so here's all the icons that are on my home page, and now I can either look through them manually, or if I know exactly what the image or what number it is, I could just click on that and be done. So this is going to save your life. Like, this is so much easier than searching for that file that was originally on my homepage named something like AAEB something. I mean, you're never going to remember that really long combination of letters and numbers, and that is going to lead to losing files. So, does that help you? If this does help you, please like this video or comment below and let me know what you liked about it, what you didn't like about it, maybe if you have any more questions, please let me know what your questions are. You can find me below, you can comment, or you can find me on Facebook at KriGentile, KriGentile, or on Instagram at KriGentile as well. Those are the best places to reach me, or shoot me an email. So if you ever need any more help when it comes to organizing your files and your folders, just let me know, because like I said, guys, this changed my life. It totally saved me so much time and so much effort, frustration, and I know it can change yours. So feel free to share, comment, leave me questions, get in touch, and I hope this helped. Okay, have a nice day.